Yeah, a lot of them. I'm going to read the numbers. Give me a thumb up if you think it's less than 10. 0. Correct. 10. Not correct. 10 is not less than 10. Don't circle it. Cross it out. 20. Definitely not less. 10.1. Close, but just over by 0.16. Yeah, that works. 4.5. That works. 2. That works. 11. No. 7. That works. 9. That works. What you just did was found several options that x could be. X could be an infinite amount of things. If you go into the negative realm, you could say negative a million is less than 10, and x could be the number negative a million. X could be the number 0. X could be the number 9.11111 going on forever. There are a ton of options for x. That is the difference with inequalities. When we write an inequality, it looks something like this. X is less than 10. What is the main difference between an equation written as x is equal to 10 and an inequality? What's the main difference between those two? Get ready to turn and talk. Jot one sentence first. I'll give you about 20 seconds. What's the main difference between an equals 10 and a less than 10? Turn and talk. If you're in odd, you are starting. If you don't have a partner, look behind you or to your right. What's the difference between an equals 10, less than 10? Go.
Equals 10 is like 10, or x is 10, and then x is inequality. The 10 is like
That's good, Nara. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of self-explanatory, but it is a difference. 3, 2, 1. What is the difference between equals and less than? Cameron, give me one thought.
Equal if you x equals 10, it's like x is 10 and not x is less than 10 or whatever.
If x equals 10, the answer is only 10. You can only have 10 work for this equation. If x is less than 10, Mara, you said that the options could be what? You said like they're all less than the number. You said it's less than 10. Is kind of like how you put it, which is a simple way and it's almost self-explanatory. But if it's less than 10, there are all numbers under 10 are the answer. So every number you could think of underneath 10 that's less than 10 is an answer. You obviously don't write that on your paper if you get x is less than 10 because you'd be writing forever and ever and ever and you'd need a million sheets of paper. The way mathematicians learned to write it, somewhere in ancient Egypt, I don't know actually where, but somewhere along the way in history, they decided to make it simple, and it looks like that. Yeah, Max. Yeah, that's right. Because the 10 is, I see what you did there. Yeah, 9.9 if you're going by that being the like largest number, which you could get a little larger than 9.9. Aiden, fix it. 9.99. Yeah. Okay, so there's our intro with inequalities. I'm curious, in 5th grade, did any teachers get into inequalities? Did you see that symbol? Silent yes. You guys did it comparing with greater than. Okay.
Yeah, did you read alligator teeth?
The alligator tooth. Oh, that's a fun visual. Oh, how fun. I wish I was in your class. That sounds very enjoyable. 2nd grade you did alligator teeth?
Yeah.
They actually do this in kindergarten with comparing numbers. They do like 1 and then the greater. So likely you've seen these numbers or these symbols, but you haven't seen them in the form of x is less than. This less than symbol is less than. That's what it means. This symbol with a chin is called less than or equal to. Silent yes if you have seen a symbol that looks like this. This is looking like it's kind of new. Liliana? This is less than. We're always going to read from left to right. If your variable's over here, we're reading it as x is less than. So the thing that's pointing smaller, this area is a lot smaller. It's like a smaller point, and it's pointing to the x. X is less than. This is a smaller point. X is less than or equal to. For this one, this is greater than. The alligator mouth is pointing to the x, so x is greater than something over here. This is greater than, but Pac-Man has a chin. It is also equal to. Greater than or equal to. You don't know what it's equal to yet because I haven't given you an inequality. This is just the vocab that I want you to get used to. Whoa, why are there so many giant things? You guys have this underneath it. When we work with inequalities, we use inequalities, not an equal sign. And you've already explored this concept in the first turn-in talk. The reason for that is because there are really an infinite number of answers for an inequality. You could just keep on listing things that are less than a number, keep on listing numbers that are greater than. If you put an equal sign, you're only limiting it to one. There are infinite answers. There are. Great. So now we kind of know what it is. We're going to graph it. And when you graph it, you're showing a visual for what the inequality is saying. Here's some rules for graphing. When you have a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to sign anywhere, you're going to graph a closed circle. A closed circle looks like this. Underneath this symbol, write x is greater than or equal to 2. If it has a chin, fill the circle in. If Pac-Man has a chin, fill the circle in. We're going to pretend this is the Pac-Man dude. He has a nice little chin here that's connecting. And if he's got a chin, fill the circle in. If Pac-Man has a chin, fill the circle in. If you don't have a chin, here's Pac-Man. Pac-Man does not have a chin. It is an open circle. So for this visual, they have an open circle. This would be written as x is greater than 2. Pac-Man doesn't have a chin. It is not equal to. Here's your saying that I just briefly said and confused some of you, and if it works, great. If it doesn't work for you, throw it out. If Pac-Man has a chin, we fill that circle in. If you see a line underneath it, you need to have a closed circle every time. Let's do some examples. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. There's not a lot of work and thinking for this. It's more of just getting in the habit of seeing something and automatically coming up with an accurate graph. X is less than or equal to 2. Here's my thought process. X is any number less than 2. So it's anything under here. It's also equal to 2. So I'm going to start out by going to the number 2. Pac-Man has a chin. Fill that circle in. Pac-Man has a chin. Fill it in. And it is any number less than 2. If it's less than 2, is 1 going to work or 3? Which one's less? It's 1. So I'm going to draw the arrow to the left. There is your visual. There's your graph. X is less than 2 looks like that, or equal to 2. This means that 2 is an answer, 1 is an answer, 0 is an answer, 0.5 negative is an answer, negative 1 is an answer, all the way to negative infinity you could have as your answer. It is kind of crazy. Now, B, x is less than negative 4, does not have a chin. Pac-Man doesn't have a chin, go to negative 4, draw an open circle. Pac-Man doesn't have a chin, it doesn't include negative 4. If x is less than negative 4, is negative 5 less or negative 3 less? Negative 5 is less, so I'm going to draw an arrow to the left. Here's a trick that I want you to use loosely. if you write it with x on the left or the variable on the left, where is the less than sign pointing to? To the left. Where did our arrow point to? To the left. Did this almost look like our arrow? If it is less than and your x is on the left, you can almost use this guy to just get the answer and know which way it's pointing. It's going to point to the direction it goes. I want you to use that loosely because there are problems where that trick won't work. We're going to get to that in example 2. Example C, x is greater than or equal to 3. Is this circle closed or open? Logan.
It's gonna be close.
Pac-Man has a chin, fill the circle in. Where do I put the circle at, Colton? What number? Let's fill it in at 3. It is bigger than or equal to 3. I'm thinking, okay, any number bigger than 3 works. Also, since x is on the left, it's pointing to the right. So I can draw the arrow to the right. 5 is bigger than 3, 4 is bigger than 3, 3 is equal to 3. Last one, x is greater than 0. X is greater than 0 is going to have an open circle. It is bigger than, so the arrow is going to point to the right. 5 is bigger than 0. Okay. Don't have a U-try for this one. Here is the one example where you can't use the arrow trick. If they write as 1 is greater than or equal to x, what's the main difference between x is less than 1? What's the difference between this top one and this bottom one? There's one key difference. They are the same inequality. Tessa. They flipped it, but it is still the same because x is still less than 1. X is less than 1. When you're reading inequalities, always start with the variable and read to the number. So x is less than sign 1. 1 is greater than x is also x is less than 1. This one is x is greater than 1, or you can read it right to left. X is greater than 1. It can also be written as 1 is less than x. They're the same thing. If they flip the x to the right, you need to read from the x to the 1. They have x is less than or equal to 1. If you flip it, it's still x is less than or equal to 1, or 1 is greater than or equal to x. If x is greater than or equal to 1, you can flip it, and it's the same thing. You could also write it as 1 is less than or equal to. Do you guys remember when we sometimes got the answer to equations with x on the right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with an inequality. You just need to read it from the variable to the number. So x is equal to 1 is the same as 1 is equal to x. In general, when you have answers where the x ends up on the right, I want you to rewrite this. So if 4.5 is greater than or equal to x, rewrite it as x is less than or equal to 4.5. Whatever the x is, read that to the left. X is less than or equal to 4.5. Questions on that? Okay. We're going to skip this one. So on A, I have x is less than or equal to 4, or 4 is greater than or equal to x. I'm going to rewrite this so I can look at it easier. X is less than or equal to 4. Where would I put the circle? What number does this go next to, Sean? If x is less than or equal to 4, where does it go? On the number that it's pointing to, on 4. Is the circle open or closed? Does Pac-Man have a chin? He does, so close the circle. And x is less than 4. So notice how I couldn't just take this. I could not take this and put it here. I'm not going to the right because x is less than 4. X is less than 4. Yeah, Cameron.
You knew the reciprocal.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
like
like
taking the
that would be
reciprocal. Yeah. Okay, so x is less than 4. It needs to be to the left. Last one, then you try. -3 is less than v, Logan.
I'll solve it, but before I just want to say something.
Uh-huh.
So anytime the number is on this side, the
Uh-huh.
left side, of the equation, it's just the v or the mouth or whatever you want to call it. It's just going the opposite way.
Correct.
Opposite direction. So
If you see the variable on the right, Logan, thanks for putting that in a simple way that's probably clearer for most of our team. Just flip the inequality. So v is on the right. Let's move it and flip it. It was less than. It is now going to have to be flipped to greater than. We moved the v to the left. We flipped the sign. That means it's going to be at -3. Which way does it go, left or right, Tessa?
-3.
Thanks. That's a blunder. Can you mark it? Tessa, does it go left or right? And is it open or closed circle, Sierra? Pac-Man does not have a chin. The open circle is not going to be filled in. So let's make it open. I should have written that at the top. An open circle is just opened like that. A closed looks like this. Pac-Man does not have a chin. Leave it open. You try these two problems on your own. And then I need to go to this. You can probably check by Tuesday. I'm gonna grade them this weekend. Yeah.
This be
Yeah. It's greater than, so it's going to the right.
okay.
What about this one?
That one, when you do your reciprocal, so it'd be going this way.
Yeah. Good.
What time do you want us to come in at lunch?
You can come in just at the start.
Okay. So like right after PE.
Yep. Number 1 was like our example one. Where do I start the graph, Cameron?
You sure that
Is it an open or closed circle, Jackson? Open or closed circle? Jackson, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you helping a teammate. Let's make sure we're back on track with our team. Mason, is this an open or closed circle for 1? And does it go left or right? Keep going. Mason, what do you think? Why does it go to the right? X is greater than 2. So if you read it, you're going to notice 2 is bigger than 1, so it heads to the right. It also just looks like the arrow points to the right as well. Number 2, where do I put the dot at, Colton? Does it, is it filled in close? Pac-Man has a chin, fill the circle in. And does it go left or right, Colton? Let's check. I'm going to flip it so it was facing that way. It's going that way. Cameron?
it goes right because it's the reciprocal.
Because the C was on the other side, rearrange it, and it's going to be to the right. Next page, please. Row 1 and 2, I'm going to check your homework. You have 7 minutes. Get through as much of these as possible. Slow down. This skill is something that is very quick to answer, but you can often make a blunder, especially when the variable's on the right. Check your answer after each one to make sure you're being precise. Number 10 is where it starts to flip around a bit. 10 and 11 are flipped. They can get tricky.
Please excuse the interruption. We're having a shift in weather and we will be having indoor recess for lunch. Again, indoor recess for lunch. Thank you.
When you guys get to 13, cross out 13, you have not learned that. Cross out 13.
I already did. Yeah, I tried it. I just did it. Number 13 and 2 miles away. You're going to get them.
You should have your homework already. Push in your chair, straighten out your desk, and get your backpack. These two Avery, I stole your homework.
On the outside, I really don't paper on it. Wait, am I reading something?
Yes, sir. Can I come at lunch and put in my test scores because my Chromebook died? Where do I get this to you?
But I'm like, no. That would be so cool.
What? Yeah. A grade ahead. 6th and 7th grade math is very, very similar though. The difference is when you jump to 7th and 8th grade, it gets way different.
Are we going to be doing 8th grade math? And once we're in 8th grade, we're going to be doing
Road 4, you look excellent. 5. Row 3, good job. 2, goodbye. Row 1, goodbye. What? It was what you picked up when you came in. So this stage, if you got it, you're good. Did you pick up? I did.
By the way, I never got the homework.
Chromebook extra math for 7 minutes. You need a Chromebook regardless if you finish your test or not. If you didn't finish your test, instead of extra math, you're going to finish it. If you did finish your test, Hendrix and Ethan, you guys are going to start extra math. I think everyone else besides you two.
I gotta finish my test.
You guys will be finishing. You have all periods. We're going to start.
She's the former pencil. I finished.
Did you enter it in? You did not. We'll mark this today.
Since I finished it,
Did I give you one?
No.
No, we don't need to do that. You can start with, if you finish extra math, you don't have extra math, you don't have that. Go to your Google Classroom. You have 2 options. There's a money type of investing game called Money Magic that you can work on, or you can work on Prodigy if you've used an account in 4th grade.
Can I go to the bathroom?
You...
Can I have my test?
That looks so weird.
I can.
Yeah. Sam is not here. Charlotte is not here.
will you help me with a couple questions? I don't understand them. I had a vocabulary test and I got an A.
Kaylee, can you put that on Kaylee's list?
Yeah, where's
Brooklyn, not.
That is weird. Oh my god. What the?
Don't say that.
Kaylee's not
Someone sit back here.
here? No.
Yeah.
Who?
He's not here.
Okay,
Well,
sure.
that'd be
This test is hard.
Kaylee.